Wisp is widely regarded as one of the best frames in the entire game, and that's entirely because of reservoirs. This is single-handedly the best buffing ability in the entire game, and it skyrockets Wisp to the top of most people's tier lists. Her other abilities are decent, but you only ever pick her because of reservoirs. And Wisp mains only care about one thing, and that is strength, and we are going all in using every single source of strength in the entire game to make the theoretical perfect Wisp. As you can see, we have 438% strength and 5 Tau shards, all with strength. When this build gets fully stacked up, it is just a bit over 750% strength, which is so stupid. Getting into the build, you can see we're even using stupid stuff like Amar's Hatred to get as much strength as possible. But going after the 438%, we have Growing Power for 25% more strength, Augmented for 60, Vigor for 45, and Power for another 50. We're using the Grimoire with the Vome Invocation for 60% more strength. Using Deadeye for Sling Strength for 40% more. And Power Drain on the Parazon for 50% more. This together is a comical amount of strength. There are a couple other things that technically can provide strength that are not being shown in this, because they require outside help and aren't really that consistent. The first ones being game mode specific ones, like the arbitration buffs, fissure buffs, and the strength buff from the guy in Conjunction Survival. Like, if you really want to, you can do those, but those are very specific and can't be used in any mission. The next thing is invigorations. You don't always have a Wisp invigoration, and it's just not consistent, even though it is 200% more strength. The next ones require some outside help, those being an Equinox teammate and a Nidus teammate or a Nidus Spectre. If you really want to use a Nidus Spectre, the Nidus Spectre can give you a little bit of strength when they cast their 3 on you. Another thing is a teammate can use Power Donation, which gives you 30% more, but this requires another player to run this. And no one ever really runs this, so you would have to get a friend to run it for you to make your number funny. I think those are all of the strength buffs in the game. If I'm missing one, please let me know in the comments. But I think those are all the strength buffs, and with that you can achieve a funny number. If you're playing solo, I would just say play Gauss instead, because he can get funny numbers, but he doesn't give his buff to the entire team. Because Wisp is basically just a weapons platform Warframe, you can use whatever you want, but for this specifically, I'm going to be using the Inodem. The Inodem is amazing, and it has some really funny, gimmicky uses, which are going to be very good in this. For this specific build, these are the perks I am using. And this is the build. This is a melee influence build, which is why we have just electricity as our only elemental. And melee influence is the reason this build is so good. Melee influence has a lot of really weird spaghetti code interactions, and to simplify the way that this works, because it can be kind of confusing, is when you apply an electricity status with a melee weapon, you have a 20% chance to get its buff, and its buff is basically the same effect as Close Contagion from Deviri, which is whenever you apply a status, it is spread to everything within a 20-meter radius. Now, this can spread more than just status. It spreads things that are applied by your melee weapon. For this specific build, it applies the effect of Amalgam Argonac Metal Auger, which is an armor strip when you hit an enemy with a dagger. For the Argonac build for this video, the only things that matter are Amalgam Serration and Amalgam Argonac Metal Auger and Dexterity, because this is a melee build. I don't know why I even have these on. I never even fired this weapon. But having this on is very important, as the armor strip is spread through melee influence. Showing off the book build, Dexterity is important because it's a melee build, and Vome for strength. None of this really matters. We're not really going to be using this weapon. We're only going to shoot the L-Fire to get the strength buff. Using Deadeye because it gives you strength. And the companion is going to be Vulpaphyla because we don't have viral on our build. This is going to be really good at spreading viral, but you could use whatever companion you want, but I would very much recommend having viral on them.